Center.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Speaker, something that I have heard consistently from my constituents in Etobicoke Centre is how important it is that we manage taxpayer dollars wisely and that we balance the budget so that we can continue to invest in the services that the people of Ontario need and rely on. And that's why I'm so proud to work with the President of the Treasury Board, the Minister of Finance, and other members of caucus to make sure we do just that. I'm someone who's a management consultant and someone who's taught at York University in the business school, and I share the view of my constituents that this is truly important. On that note, Minister, I understand that this morning the Financial Accountability Officer released a report titled Assessment of Ontario's Medium-Term Economic and Fiscal Outlook. Providing independent analysis on the state of Ontario's economy is a key component of Mr. Leclerc's mandate, and I know that our government first established this office in 2013 to further our commitment to fiscal transparency, to accountability, and I believe that Ontario is the only province in Canada to appoint such an officer. So, Mr. Speaker, through you to the Minister, could you please provide my constituents and the people of Ontario with your update on the report released this morning by the Financial Accountability Officer?
Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. I first want to thank Stephen Leclerc, Ontario's Financial Accountability Officer, for his report. The FAO serves an important public service in providing independent analysis to the Assembly about the state of the province's finances. I enjoy a positive working relationship with Mr. Leclerc, and I welcome and value his independent analysis of our province's finances. The FAO's report released today affirms our 2015-16 deficit target. This is the lowest deficit projection in Ontario since the onset of the global recession. Wow. Mr. Leclerc further acknowledges in his analysis that eliminating the deficit by 17-18 is achievable and highlights that the province will be on track to beat its deficit target yet again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Back to the Minister of Finance. So I'm pleased to hear that our government has established a good working relationship with Mr. Leclerc's office, and I'm glad that Mr. Leclerc has affirmed a few things. One is our ability to balance the budget. In one of his scenarios, agree that we will meet our deficit target of $8.5 billion for 2015-16, and acknowledge that we have managed program spending below budget projections. However, I'm sure, Minister, that the people I represent at Etobicoke Centre would like to hear a little bit more about the specifics of the report. I understand that Mr. Leclerc's report focuses on Ontario's fiscal and economic situation, taking into account projections in our 2015 budget. The report also examines certain economic trends over the past 15 years to provide historical context for the province's fiscal outlook. So, Minister, could you comment on Ontario's progress both on an economic and on a fiscal basis?
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you again to the member opposite, or the member for the question. Ontario's economy continues to grow at a modest pace despite a challenging and changing global landscape. In his report, the FAO points to several external factors over the last decade that have had an impact on Ontario's economy. However, the FAO states that following the recession, employment rebounded relatively quickly in Ontario. He also pointed out that the pace of Ontario's job recovery following the global recession was much quicker than in the United States or other G7 countries. From a fiscal perspective, the FAO also applauds our ability to manage program spending. In his report, he points out on page 12 that in 2013-14 and 14-15, program spending was $1.2 billion lower each year than the original budget plan projection. As a result, he says it is reasonable to expect the government will continue to be able to manage program spending for 2015-16 below the original budget plan. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the FAO once again for his hard work, and I look forward to continuing our positive relationship. Thank you.